Hello, everyone. I'm Ian Smith here with fedsmith.com. I wanted to talk to you today about the 2027 federal pay raise. I know it's only February. 2027 is still quite a ways away, but would you believe the 2027 pay raise is already being discussed in Congress? How would a 4.1% pay raise next year sound to you if you're a current federal employee? That's the number that's been proposed. This is part of the FAIR Act, and that stands for Federal Adjustment of Income Rates. And it's become an annual tradition. It started, I believe, back in 2014. It was introduced every year in the Senate by Senator Brian Schatz, a Democrat from Hawaii, and Congressman Gerry Connolly, a Democrat from Virginia. And they would introduce it every year about this time, January, February, somewhere around there. But of course, Congressman Connolly passed away not too long ago. And I wasn't sure if the FAIR Act would continue being introduced as a result of that, but it has been. And it's been taken over by Congressman James Walkinshaw, a Democrat from Virginia. And here is what the FAIR Act is proposing for 2027. It would be a total 4.1% pay raise for current federal employees. That would be a 3.1% across the board average pay increase and 1% average locality pay adjustment. And obviously, locality pay varies depending on what area of the country you're in, but those are the average figures. And the rationale behind the FAIR Act, it always proposes a raise higher than what federal employees are likely to get otherwise. The pay raise is almost always determined by the White House, the president. Congress can get involved, but it's unusual. Typically, what will happen is the White House will propose a pay raise each year in the budget proposal for the coming year. That usually happens in the spring. Throughout the year, Congress could get involved. So something like the FAIR Act, if it were to become law, would enact a pay raise for the coming year. Usually, though, it would get if Congress does get involved, it's going to become part of a larger spending bill. That would probably be more typical. And so, if Congress did override what the president proposes, that would be the pay raise. But that's pretty unusual. In August, the president issues an alternative pay plan letter, is what it's called, and that's kind of the next step in the process. That's where he formally outlines his request for what he thinks the pay raise should be for the coming year. And then it gets finalized in December when an executive order is issued and the Office of Personnel Management issues pay tables shortly thereafter to finalize the raise. That's the typical process. Before you get too excited about getting a 4.1% pay raise next year, I want to emphasize it's very unlikely that this is going to become law. The FAIR Act has never become law throughout its history, but it does signal congressional priorities. It gets the process going, as I said. It keeps pressure on the White House, but it does help to shape the public and political conversation about federal pay. And one last thing that's important to note, this is different from a COLA, the cost of living adjustment. This, what we're talking about here today, is a pay raise for current federal employees. This would not impact retired federal employees in any way. The COLA is determined by an automatic formula. It never changes. It's based on inflation. The pay raise is determined by a political process, as I briefly outlined in this video. It's not based on inflation like the COLA is, at least not directly. If inflation's running higher, federal employees might be likely to get a higher pay raise than they would otherwise, just from the political pressure that's created by the fact that inflation's higher. But that's a basic update on the situation. I hope you found this helpful. It is still very early on in the process. We don't have a final number for what the 2027 pay raise will be yet. But as the process unfolds throughout the year, stay tuned to FedSmith here on this channel. You can like and subscribe for updates, and also visit our website, fedsmith.com, because we will be providing updates as they become available on what your pay raise is likely to be in the coming year. Have a good day.